In this episode of BVU Explorer, we take a look at the Great Channels of Virginia. The Great Channels is a group of sandstone outcroppings located at the summit of the Middle Knob on Clinch Mountain. These formations are located about 13 miles north of Abingdon as the crow flies, but the actual route will be about 20 miles north of Abingdon. Take exit 81 to the Meadowview exit, exit 24, and go north under the interstate. You will take a left on State Road 609 and then a right on State Highway 80. Highway 80 will take you all the way to the parking area at Hayter's Gap, where you will be leaving your car for the long hike up the mountain. Watch the road signs because there aren't many that will tell you that you're on the right road. The road becomes very curvy, but you will finally get to the parking area. From that parking area to the channels is a hike that will take you along a gravel road that will eventually turn into a dirt trail. The trail goes from an elevation of around 1,800 feet to a little over 4,200 feet. The length of the hike is about 3 miles, so for every mile you hike, you're going up in elevation about 800 feet. There are very few steep parts of the trail, but it is uphill almost all the way. Of course, this also means that it's downhill coming back, which takes less effort but can be pretty hard on your feet. We started at about 9 a.m. and it was after 4 p.m. when we returned to the car. So this is a full day and you do not want to be on that trail at night, so plan accordingly. The trail is well traveled and almost immediately we ran into John Hartley. He is an operations steward for the Virginia Department of Conservation and Recreation Division of Natural Heritage.
We're standing on the Channels State Forest. The property is owned by the Virginia Department of Forestry. It's about a 4,000 acre state forest. Roughly the top 730 acres are deeded as a natural area preserve to the Virginia Department of Conservation Recreation Division of Natural Heritage. Natural Heritage manages preserves throughout the state of Virginia, and currently we're around 64 preserves throughout the state.
While the Great Channels of Virginia was our destination, the 3-mile hike up the mountain was pretty spectacular. Ecological communities and forest types changed significantly as we walked through different elevations. The changes in vegetation are obvious, but there are other changes. Along part of the trail, we were able to get our cameras right up to the many butterflies that were feeding along the path. But as we continued the hike, the insects became as timid as usual, and it's not uncommon to come upon a guided tour. While the trail is pretty long and exhausted, most people find it very enjoyable.
Actually, our daughter and some of their friends made the journey a few weeks ago, and she talked about it. We had a day we could share together, so want to do some hiking, and this sounded like a great place.
The Appalachian region, I think for the beauty, it just can't be beaten. It's just awesome with the mountains and the trails, and just God's way of showing off.
We travel a great deal, and there's no better place than here. We live maybe 30 minutes away, and it's just beautiful.
Because the trail climbs so high, there are several switchbacks, and you might notice that there are shortcuts straight up the mountain, but don't take those.
And this here's an example of a social trail. What happens is a lot of people try to cut off a switchback or something to make their trip a little bit shorter, but what they don't understand is these trails are not designed at all, so they erode a lot. They add a lot more sediment back to the streams, and so it's really good practice when you're in the woods to follow the main trails that are there, because the social trails can be a little bit dangerous and also impact the environment more than what we have designed for.
Toward the summit, we noticed that the path became less dirt and more rocky, and in a few minutes we were at the old fire tower that marked the entranceway to the channels.
The channels is a large geologic formation made up of sandstone. They include crevices up to 30 feet deep, approximately 10 to 15 feet wide, and it's just a really unique formation that's not found in Southwest Virginia or the Southeast a lot. Some of these formations you can find up in upstate New York. The latest theory that has been told to me and how they were formed was that these mountaintops were the last remnants of permafrost in the South during the Ice Age. And so as these things, as the sandstone began to thaw and then refreeze and thaw and refreeze, they have contracted and expanded, and created these very square-shaped fissures within the formation.
We were on vacation here. We did the Virginia Creeper Trail, but this is by far my favorite part so far. I think it's really cool, and I like all the secret areas where you can go back there and then come out right here.
This has been an awesome hike because it's been so different from anything we've done before. We've done a lot of waterfall hikes, especially in North Carolina and some in Virginia. And we wanted to do this today because it was just so different. We had been told that it'd be worth the hike, and the kids got a little bit tired on the way up, and I kept telling them it'd be worth it. So the caves, all the stone formations, all the exploring down there has been really amazing, and the kids could stay all day. It's nice and cool. And then you can climb up here and get these great views, so it's been fantastic. We've loved it.
It had been a long day and we had miles to go to get back to the car, so we headed back. We'll leave you with a few tips if you plan on visiting the Great Channels of Virginia. The hike up the mountain is rated at medium difficulty, and while the distance is only 3 miles, it feels like 10. So be sure to wear some good hiking shoes and take plenty of fluids and have a few energy snacks with you. And don't forget that there are absolutely no trash cans along the trail, so you will need to bring every single wrapper and plastic bottle back with you. Leave early enough to be able to get there and back before it starts to get dark, because you really don't want to be on these trails after dark. Because of the fact that the Channels is basically a big rock maze, give yourself enough time to get lost, because you will, but you'll find your way back out, but it may take a little while, so give yourself that extra few minutes. For more information on the Great Channels of Virginia, visit the website listed at the bottom of the screen.